What is one insight, and I'm going to hold space for each of you. What is one insight from this report that you're really working, that's informing the work that you're doing in community? And maybe it's more than one, but I'm going to, for the sake of it's a short show, what is one insight that continues to shape what you're doing in community and what you're doing to build community? So maybe I'd start with maybe Mohamed, you can go first.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, there are a lot of insights that I drew from doing the research. But the one that I want to talk about is the misconception about EDI, right? The misconception about EDI. Um, Diversity is valued when all members of the community feel safe, they feel included and accepted. So, taking it into curriculum, which I think will be the next conversation for me, is if we are able to use the EDI framework to revise curriculum and start this conversation at an early age, that would then make it easier for us to connect, to have the conversation with fewer challenges. I mean, there's always going to be some challenges, but without the foundation, it is going to be a little harder. I'm surprised to see students at post-secondary who does not know anything about indigenous, experiences, and um, students who don't know what African veil is, and you have to go over to explain it to them. Now, imagine if they had that information coming from primary school, from high school, then you can build on the next level of conversation rather than starting all over. So for me, it's the misconception about EDI. Before we started this, I went over to refresh my um, review the report, the Halton community report that we just finished. And I saw in some of the, what do you call it, the qualitative responses, um, people really think you can separate EDI from inclusion and equity, that somehow they are separate, that somehow, I think, to quote the information is, why don't we focus on what makes us similar instead of what uh, the differences? Difference isn't the problem. It is when it is used, it is weaponized to devalue, to exclude. That's when difference becomes a problem. By itself, it's not a problem. So, yeah, I would say my um, issue is the misconception around EDI. It is very poorly understood. It is somehow the thinking is, well, you know, focusing on different communities is the problem, and therefore, why don't we celebrate diversity? Well, what makes diversity beautiful? It is the um, the differences, and focusing on the differences is just as valued and important as celebrating diversity. So yeah, that's just one. And I know we don't have the time to get into the rest of it. So